Hello and welcome to A Dog's Breakfast. Don't be confused, that's just the name of the show. Tonight we're going to do dinner. We're doing it for Heidi and Darwin, and I've got all of the stuff I need just right here. We've also left you written instructions so that you don't have to watch this video every single time you're trying to prepare dinner. So, let's start with all of the stuff that comes out of the fridge. Normally the way I like to do it, bring everything out of the fridge, have the bowls here. I personally use 2 forks and a spoon in order to prepare everything. Of course, one of the things we have to worry about is cross-contamination, because Darwin can't have any of Heidi's food because of the allergy elimination, so this is just trying to keep everything simple. Heidi, starting with the bison, she gets a patty and a half, so I happen to have a half patty here. I'm going to have to grab another dish over here to get another full patty out. Now if you run out, there is more in the deep freeze downstairs, you can just grab it. We normally leave it out either overnight or during the day in order so that it can thaw. And we put 8 patties in one of these containers, and there you go. Next I move on to Darwin, and I always start with the rice. So new fork. Get a little bit of rice in here, about a 1/4 cup of rice. Is that right, Rachel?
No, about that.
1/4 cup of rice. A little bit in there. Put it to the side, and then some of the cooked rabbit. So we've left you enough cooked rabbit. You shouldn't have to worry about cooking any more over the course of the weekend. There's 2 containers of it here. So just start with the one that's got a little less in it, because that's the one we cooked first, and then you can move on to the other one when you're done. And that's probably about equal amounts meat and rice when you get it all in there. Great. At this point, we're left with the vegetables and the pumpkin on the table, but I like to leave them later and start with all of the dry stuff. So we can move over these here. There's a couple of things I forgot to get out of the fridge. One of them is the probiotic, HMF4. So a pill of that for each of them. And are we given, is it oil on the list, Rachel?
Coconut oil. No, not
So,
hemp
no
oil.
hemp oil, it's in the fridge, you don't need it. So Heidi also, other pills. She gets one of the bilberries, vitamin C, and they both get one of these Pregnavites. That's nice and easy. Now, I want to take out 1 spoon, so I like to start with all the dry stuff. I normally start with these 3 containers. Half a teaspoon each for, half a teaspoon for Heidi, of each of 2 different bottles. And this one's Darwin's. And these are all written on the top to make it easy, as well as on the paper lists. The next one, so this is only for breakfasts, and this enzyme supplement is for dinner, and that's a half teaspoon each again. And finally, the Organic Traditions powder here. This is just for Darwin. This one, we don't have a label on. Rachel, can you have a label on this one? Brilliant. So that's most of the dry stuff. Now I move on to the wet stuff. I like to do the vegetables first. It's easier to ensure that the vegetables don't get in the pumpkin than it is the other way around. Although it doesn't really matter if you cross-contaminate some of these things. Just my personal preference, and you can do it your way. Next, pumpkin. Big spoonful each. And then the apple cider vinegar. Do we have another bottle, Rachel? This one's going to be out right now. She is pointing to one up on the table. So the next to last thing is the oil here. Coconut oil, I like to just give the spoon a rinse so that it's a little cleaner when doing this. There's a whole bunch of clumps in the bottom of this. You have to reach in there really hard. What I like to do is just tip a piece out onto the lid, and then from there it's easier to break chunks off. and give a little bit to both dogs. There you go. And finally, we need the water. Got oil all over my fingers. The way that I like to do the water, get rid of the spoon, is to just grab a coffee pot. It's got the nice filtered water in it and pour a little bit in for both of them. Now one of the things that I forgot to do, and it's going to give me a problem here, is to stir and break up Heidi's stuff prior to putting the water in, because otherwise it splashes a little bit. But just got to be a little bit careful when breaking it all up. Mix everything together. I've still got both forks in both bowls, so I know that there's going to be no cross-contamination. And once it's mixed up, you're done. If I don't do one of these tomorrow for breakfast, then we use the bigger square bowls for, well, a square bowl for Darwin and a smaller bowl for Heidi in the breakfasts. Heidi gets about the same amount of food, it doesn't really matter. And in the square bowl we put the ball to stop Darwin from eating too fast, it slows him down a little bit. So there you go, 2 meals, deliciously prepared, and 2 dogs waiting.